Before we start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe underneath this video. We're about to start, so grab a drink as well as something to eat, and let's go. Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about why medium tanks are underperforming as a class, in my opinion. But before you go into the comments and start hating on me, listen to me to the very end, and then make your opinion on this video. So, before we start, of course, I have some juicy gameplay for you guys. Both games are over 6k damage dealt, and obviously by me, and just so you guys don't get bored while I talk. So, let's break down this issue first, right? Let's look at the other three classes apart from medium tanks first, and let's look at their advantages, right? Let's take heavy tanks, my favorite class, of course. They have a decent mobility. They get around the map fairly easily compared to some very sluggish TDs. But in terms of gun, they're very comfortable. They have a very good penetration and they have decent alpha. This allows them to deal damage fairly easily compared to other classes. Why? Because they can penetrate everything on the battlefield with relative ease, with only some exceptions. Heavy tanks, if you're good enough and you're a good enough player, you can pretty much penetrate every single tank you meet with ease. So this is without question. And with the alpha and decent DPM, you can stack up damage fairly easily. Right? On top of that, another addition is armor. You're the most heavily armored tank on the battlefield, and you have the most HP. This is super important. Armor, HP, gun. Easy. This combo allows the heavy tank to dominate the meta currently. Every single game, a heavy tank must carry. It's a must. Other classes could carry, but a heavy tank has everything you need to win. Alright, now let's look at TDs. TDs have around 2k HP, which is fairly decent. It's the same as lights and mediums. Remember, it's the same as lights and mediums, but they have really good guns. And by really good guns, I mean very good penetration, the highest in the game. They penetrate everything. Everything gets penned by TDs. And really high alpha, an average 600 plus. So doing damage or stacking up damage isn't too hard on this class at all. Sometimes you have mobility and sometimes you have very good armor in addition to it. For example, the Flash, the 268, the Hori, all of them have decent mobility, but at the same time they have very good armor at the front, of course. Therefore, dealing damage again is very not easy, but it's not hard at the same time. Now we look at light tanks. Again, same number of HP as TDs and medium tanks, but they are the fastest class. They fly around the map and they have fairly good guns. For example, the Vickers has very good gun handling. The Batchat has, good gun handling as well, decent damage, etc., etc. And it allows them to fly around the map and they can outspot any other class. So that is their niche. They are very fast and they can outspot you, and they have decent guns. So, in terms of gun handling, at the same time, you have the Sheridan, which gives you 500 plus damage once, and then it can fly away. It literally runs away. So doing damage on light tanks isn't as hard as doing them on, medium tanks. Why? Medium tanks have the same amount of HP as lights and TDs. But in compensation, they have less alpha. For example, the T62, the T22, the Object 140, they do 300 alpha, per shot. But they have no armor, so, they're fairly easy to pen. Most people will be able to pen you. And their mobility is just not up to par. Like the T62 is sluggish. Look at the M48, look at the M60, look at the E50M. Well, the E50M is not too sluggish for the armor, but you know what I mean. They're not fast by any means. So flying around the map isn't an option. Do they have high alpha? No, doing damage is very hard because you have to repeat the enemy several times in order to do the same damage a TD or a heavy does. So for example, a TD does one shot, he gives you 700 in the face. You have to re-peek twice in a medium tank to do that damage. And what does this mean? This means you're gonna get hit twice. So, you don't have the HP pool in order to survive that many shots. That's why you have to play around like a rat in the map. You have to, camp, etc., etc. You have to use your teammates as bait, and not every single player can do this. Many players rush to get medium tanks first, And then they end up doing, really badly because, it's not an easy class to play as your first class. It's a lot easier to play TDs and heavy tanks, again, due to the advantages I mentioned earlier. Therefore, medium tanks are very hard. They have no niche. They're not good at anything specific. They're decent at everything else, but in a 1 versus 1 fight, usually they will lose to any heavy. Let's look at the Kranvagn 2800 HP. That's crazy. And it actually has a good armor. That means mediums won't be able to penetrate Kranvagns with every single shot. And on top of that, the Kranvagn has 400 alpha. So if they're playing, off of a rock or some sort of ridgeline, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. So from my point of view, playing as a medium is just a pain in the bum, It's the most hated class, but there's an easy fix the developers can do to fix this, obviously. They can just give a 300 HP more to medium tanks and boost their HP to 2200. This would make them perfect, more than TDs, more than light tanks, but less than heavy tanks. This allows them to fight a little more effectively, live a little bit longer in the battle, and therefore do a bit more damage, allowing them to, be more useful to the team. But that's just my opinion. Again, I don't know if you guys agree, maybe you guys disagree, but that's just my opinion. In my opinion, medium tanks underperform compared to all other classes for the specific reasons I mentioned above, i.e. they're not good at anything specific. They're decent at everything. No armor though, no alpha, and doing this 4k average damage on this is just a pain in the bum because you have to repeak so many times in order to do that damage. But again, that's just my opinion. So that's all I had to say for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy is out. Bye-bye.